Are you touring right now, or do you get some
On and off.
down minute?
Yeah, I've done some festivals and a lot of Italian shows actually, which is it's great. It's fun.
Where are you from?
I'm from Rome originally.
So you are Italian.
I'm Italian, yeah.
Oh, I love that. I'll be there this weekend. My Giobbi. My grandfather's Italian, but I had a meal with my relatives recently, and I can't speak Italian. They can't speak English. It was one of those where my grandfather moved over and was like, "My kids will not learn Italian. They will be American," and that's such a bummer. So
Yeah,
you're fluent in English as well. It sounds like.
yeah. I mean, I've been living in London since now. It's like 12 years, 13 years.
What brought you to
So
London?
Northeast London.
What
So
made you want to move there?
oh, why? Music. Yeah, just obviously. Yeah,
So is London kind of like us moving to LA or something? Like
uh, I think so. I
where the
mean,
industry is?
yeah. I mean, obviously, like Rome has much more like a very small kind of industry, and the music I like, it's coming from, not Italy. so, so obviously, it's like it's. I was fascinated to move here. Yeah, for
Oh, that's so
purely
awesome.
purely music. Yeah.
Hell yeah. What is the music that you love? Like, what are some of the artists that you look up to and respect and sort of
I
reference when
mean,
you're writing?
it's. I listen to so much music, like literally, like from classical music to electronic, heavy, music and the jazz. Like it's very hard for me to like give it five names because
Yeah.
I'm continuously like evolving as well as an artist and as a listener. So
Ah,
yeah, so
yeah.
it's what I mean. It's like it's hard and it's I was I don't know what I was listening today to. Oh yeah, this artist I think is Canadian. I'm not sure. It's called Home Shake. You know
Cool.
this guy?
No.
Yeah.
Electronic or what kind of music is
He's
it?
kind of now is more kind of shoegazy,
Oh, cool.
kind of chill electronic with some synths. He's adding all these beautiful synths.
Yeah.
Almost like his latest album is almost like slowcore. So you see, it's like
What is
from
slowcore?
it's like it's kind of grungy, slow grunge, basically. Yeah, it's amazing.
Cool.
It's amazing.
Sick. Oh, I
Yeah,
gotta check that out. Because when I
yeah.
discovered your music, I was like, this is the music I always thought that I would make. And then I ended up in this very, very kind of small house world. Yeah. And so I started making music for the parties I was playing so I could play my own music. But your music is really speaks to my soul. I also went to school for jazz piano performance, and I feel like you really incorporated the electronic and the musicality of that. And you don't have to answer this, but are there other artists that you would say are in the same lane as you? I mean, I feel like your lane is so unique and different, who are your contemporaries?
I mean, all the kind of London, the one everyone's called UK jazz, has been my sort of like also like starting point. But I do feel, as Italian, I will never belong to that, to the UK jazz. But it's literally like I don't know. I'm inspired by a lot of different artists, and I was checking actually Ella Minus. Ella Minus,
Oh, yeah.
yeah, like
Yeah.
recently more, and I was like, oh, she's wicked. Yeah, she's very
Very,
cool.
very wicked.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and
we've had her on the show.
yeah, she's super super cool, and yeah, and my music, it's becoming more and more electronic rather than jazz, but I do feel that the jazz harmony and the jazz knowledge is still there, and I cannot escape it.
I know, I
It's
really
it's
feel that. It's really cool. And we'll touch about your live show later, but I also love how you've set that up and what you're using. I'm curious to hear more about that. Oh, was I just gonna ask you? Do you? I've seen the when you play out sort of the setup. I believe if you're still doing that. Do you ever do DJ sets?
no, no.
Okay.
they asked me to.
I'm sure you get asked.
Yeah, but I like to play, like with, like I just recently actually I've done this set in at We Out Here, this amazing festival in Dorset. Yeah, it's and I decided like I'm gonna do a solo thing with just no Ableton, just machines and scenes, and yeah, it's crazy, but I loved it, and I was like, okay. And I
Wait,
was like,
what? What
yeah,
are you looping? Are you
I'm
is it
using
like a drum machine and
yeah, I've got a drum machine, and I've got like the 404 SP 404, which is amazing. The effects
Really?
are incredible. Yeah,
Okay.
and then a couple of synthesizers, and then obviously I'm triggering stuff all the time, but it's live, and I have nothing kind of planned.
Okay, so you have nothing. Okay, so you're not like, okay, let me learn how to exactly recreate my songs. You're just
I mean, there are my songs, but they are rearranged to be completely free, and not like, okay, I'm gonna do this. This bit needs to happen now.
So you're actually improvising with electronic gear. You're actually improvising.
Yeah, it's a kind of, it's fun. It's fun.
Dude, I did like in the US, I did a headline tour where oftentimes I cannot play my own music in my sets because the music I make on my albums is like more soft and it just doesn't work for the clubs I'm playing. But so I finally did a headline tour. I was like, I'm gonna play my own music, and I was using Ableton Live, and I just couldn't figure out a way to make it more improvisational. And I was just like, what is the point of me trying to do all these separate things but really to have it sound exactly as people hear in the album, but it's just not as good, and I just couldn't figure out a way to make it improvisational.
I mean, it's really like my set with my band, it's obviously like more kind of we are trying to almost like playing live the music that it will be easier to play with Ableton. Okay, that's for sure.
Yeah.
But I decided I am like, I want to, because I come from I come from the jazz world as you. It's like I decided I need to give this live influence into this music, which might seem very like kind of boxed, static, and I decided it took me like a while to figure this out, and obviously like with fantastic musicians that's easy, but then this live set was like, I'm gonna just basically thinking in a very jazzy way and try to improvise. For example, with the drum machine, I was much more like kind of having fun with all the effects, like through effects pedals. So it's just, it's an experiment, I think. Yeah,
That is so awesome. That is so. Have you ever seen Kink?
No.
Capital K, lowercase I, capital NK. He was the first artist I ever saw. It was just a table of electronics, and it's kind of his songs, but mostly he's just playing them in a very experimental way, just like with this machinery. And I was in awe. But like that takes real practice, to get comfortable with making builds or whatever on the drum machine, and making sure you're just the physical flow of. I'm so impressed with that. When is your next set with that?
Well, like my next show is in London with a band, and it's actually a trio, so it's not a lot of people playing, which is also a challenge. It's on September 11th at the ICA. Have you ever been?
No, man, I play here
amazing.
September 6th, but I have to leave right after. It's so close. I would love to see that. Well, so are you playing in venues, or are you playing in clubs, or what is the atmosphere?
This venue is actually the Institute of Contemporary Art, but there is a theater, and it's gonna be like we're gonna premiere a live show with visuals, so like this kind of stuff. It's like.
Oh, what a cool space for that.
You should next time you should check it out. It's very cool.
Hell yes. It's awesome. Okay, I could feel like I could talk to you forever, so I will read your little blurb and I'll ask you a few questions, and thank you for being here. You're listening to Femme House Radio with your host LP Giobbi, and this week we have Maria Chiara Argiro, who has been a central figure in the UK jazz, classical, and electronic world since she moved to London from Rome over a decade ago. A skilled pianist since childhood, she's collaborated with everyone from the New Puritans to Jamie Leeming, alongside output with Moonfish. Her previous solo album, the stunning electronic jazz fusion record Forest City, received widespread critical acclaim and was covered by the likes of The Guardian, Pitchfork, Vogue, and Rolling Stone. Her music has featured in the Netflix series Elite, and she can count the likes of Fortet and Giles Peterson as fans, with the latter describing her music as absolutely crazy good. Closer, her new album, is a testament to Maria's journey of self-exploration and a manifestation of her profound connection with music. Rooted in an indescribable feeling that compelled her to create, the album transcends boundaries and traverses the spectrum of electronic music with unparalleled depth and creativity. Welcome to Femme House Radio, Maria. It is an honor to have you.
Thank you so much for having me.
So what is your origin story? How did you get into writing and producing electronic fusion music?
Well, I started playing piano when I was a little kid, and my music evolved. I studied classical piano, then I went into jazz, and then I fall in love with all the possible, research of sounds, and and electronic music speaks to me so much at the moment. So I fall in love, and I try to literally dig as much as possible into all the possibilities of Ableton and synthesizers, and with obviously this jazz knowledge. Yeah.
Oh, it's beautiful. For your new album, Closer, what was your recording process like? How much was written in the box in Ableton versus recorded by live instruments or synthesizers or things like that?
It's mostly, I started actually on synthesizers, and usually my process always started from, playing piano and kind of noodling melodies and singing melodies. And in this case, I was like, I'm gonna force myself to start everything. Not even force, it's like it happened, because I wrote this music in a very short amount of time, because I had this, feeling. I had to write it. And I had, I have few synthesizers. I don't have a lot of synthesizers, just because I like to have some limits, and obviously it's very expensive to have a lot
yes.
of toys, and I kind of rotate around few synthesizers, and everything starting from there, and me singing along some melodies, and then I started all the processing the sounds into Ableton, which is always incredible.
Amazing. Yeah. That's a nice way to start. So you're really writing songs, at their core, mm-hmm. which is a cool way to start outside the box. What does your live show setup look like? I know that you have a drummer, and it's a trio, I believe.
Yeah, it's a trio. So it's drums. The drummer plays also bass synth, and
the drummer plays bass synth.
Yeah.
At the same time?
Yeah.
What?
Yeah, I mean, obviously, it's not all the time. We exchange, but it's
That's incredible.
And then it's a trumpet player with loads of effects, and also is playing some synths, and me on vocals, and synthesizers, and having
wow.
It's
so the live drummer, with electronic music, how do you blend that when you're recording, for instance, Closer? Were a lot of the drum parts recorded via live drumming?
Yes, it was live drumming. Yes.
And do you ever layer any of those with the electronic drums?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's how I try to make it work. Yeah, but that's the idea is that, because I come from this acoustic instrumental jazz world, I always wanted to incorporate the acoustic layers with the electronic layers, and even if you don't hear that, it's like they are there,
I very much hear it. I think that fusion that you've absolutely nailed, and with respect to both sides, it's very cool. Final question for you. What advice would you give your younger self?
To let go all the, kind of fears that you might have to be an artist and a woman in this crazy, music world. And so starting sooner to let go, because I'm pretty much quite a free person, but it took me a while to just be like, okay, I can be one musician today, and tomorrow I can be another musician, and I think it's easy to get stuck when you are in your like studies, because I was studying jazz. I was like, oh, that's gonna be my career, and I wish I knew earlier that I could have started things when I was 14, like like
I
not,
think this all the time.
yeah, I mean, like not being only a classical, like
Yep.
a jazz trained pianist. I was like, okay, maybe. So I would say to myself, be free, feel free, let go all the kind of thoughts and
I
fears. Yeah.
love that. That is beautiful. Well, we are huge fans of yours at Femme House. I think everything you're doing is unique and beautiful and wonderful and filled with so much soul. So, thank you for putting your music out in the world. We need it.
Thank you so much. Thank you.